Ukrainian music professor and composer Virko Baley escaped from Europe and immigrated to the United States in the 1930s. While he is now a leader in Nevada's musical community, he has dedicated his latest opera to an untold and tragic piece of Ukrainian history.
The final name is called Holodomor, and then subtitle Red Earth Hunger. Holod in Ukrainian means hunger, and mor is extermination. So it's extermination by hunger. My name is Virko Baley. My official profession is I'm a professor at the University of Nevada, but I've done many things in my life. This is my inner sanctum, and I think the mess reflects the mess in my head very well. I worked in many places in the United States in different ways, as a pianist, as a composer, as a lecturer, but I've also conducted different places. We're looking at the opening of the opera. I was born in Ukraine. My father, during the war years, was sent to Auschwitz for 3 years. This is a portrait of my mother that was painted by my father when he was in Auschwitz. And then we moved into Germany. My father is this one. And then in 1949 came to the United States. I started music because of my mother, because she was persistent in that. We couldn't, of course, do anything until really right after the war. That's going to stretch when you hear it tonight. And where we lived, there was a piano. And so she found a very wonderful teacher from Ukraine who was also immigrated. And he was traveling throughout Germany at that point, giving piano lessons. Really just forget about it. They can get their own. My love of music occurred rather early, but it was through opera. I saw Madame Butterfly. I think I was around 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly, but it was around then. And I just found it fascinating. I found vocal music very fascinating. One. I have to find something. Back in the 60s, I saw a play called Holod, which is Hunger, by Bogdan Boychuk, who's a Ukrainian-American poet, translator, writer, dramatist. And I was quite struck by it. And then in the 80s, I asked him if he would be interested in doing a libretto on that. He said yes, and that started the ball rolling. So let's try it. Very simple piece. Tren of course means lament. The story is this. First of all, the background. The background is the Great Famine. Then it became known as Holodomor, which occurred in 1932 and 33. Which was instigated by collectivization that Stalin was insisting upon. Private farms were forbidden, and everybody had to join a collective. There was a lot of resistance to it, particularly in Ukraine. And so Stalin, who had a kind of a natural dislike of Ukrainians, I don't know exactly why, decided to be particularly hard. So he saw this, frankly, as an opportunity. Anybody who resisted that had to be eradicated. They did it by essentially taking every grain, every piece of bread, every little bit from their homes. Anybody hid anything, they were automatically executed. And that's genocide. And we don't know the numbers yet. Numbers are still being counted, but the conservative estimate is about 3 million. High estimate is 6 or more. Now, the story itself is about a man and a woman with a child. So they come together, and she has this baby that is also starving because she is starving. She no longer has any milk in her breast, so she can't feed it. He has become a complete cynic. All he thinks about is food and sex. food he wants, sex he can't do because he's starving, and he tortures her with that. But in the end, he realizes that he is dying, that he's not going to probably survive the day, and he knows the child is starving. So he takes the child and puts his bleeding wrist to its mouth, and of course, he dies. But the child has survived for another day. Where does the opera fit in the evolution of my work? Well, in many ways, it's a culmination of a certain kind of period in my creativity. It's a kind of encyclopedia of the various things that interested me and the various things that have influenced me and the various ways that I've dealt with those things. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very important piece for me. It will potentially justify all the last 30 years.
And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank the Howe Opera House for hosting us today. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I am DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.